Good morning. Sorry. So sorry. I'm used to projecting. I guess I don't have to anymore. Okay. You can turn it down for me, Gil, by the way. I want to blast everybody out. So, my name is Ann Pearl. I'm going to be your worship associate today. Please rise now in body or spirit and join us in singing hymn number 1017 in your teal hymnals, Building a New Way.
Good. Good morning.
You gotta get close to it.
Okay. Okay. My name is Mike Kemper. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm the Vice President of the Board of Trustees. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the Hudson Valley. Whether you have been with this congregation a decade or more, or this is your first time visiting us, we welcome you. Whatever the faith and traditions of your past, we welcome you. Whatever your theological stance, we welcome you. Whoever you are and whomever you love, we welcome you. Whatever your heritage, we welcome you. We respectfully acknowledge the territory on which our church building sits as the ancestral homelands of the Munsee, Lenape, and Wappinger people. You know it's a holiday weekend. There's only one announcement. Our annual and beloved Christmas service is coming up soon. The magic of this service is made possible with the help of volunteers. In the coming weeks, committee chairs will be asking for assistance in planning and putting on the service. If you'll be in town for the holiday and you're able, we both encourage you to attend and contribute to the magic. Many hands make light work. For the most up-to-date information on these topics and others, please refer to our weekly e-newsletter and check our website frequently. And please join us for conversation after the service. If you're present in the sanctuary, please join us for coffee and conversation in the fellowship hall. If you're watching the live stream, the link for our Zoom coffee hour can be found in the Saturday reminder in your email. If you are just recently joining us and would like to receive our weekly e-news, please email us at uucroton@gmail.com with your name, and we'll make sure you're added to our email list. Also, please remember to silence your cell phones now. Once again, we welcome you to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the Hudson Valley.
Our guest speaker today is a very familiar face to everyone. Our worship leader, I should say, excuse me. Nora Mulligan has worn various hats at the UUCHV, from board president to worship associate to chair and member of different committees. Currently retired from the field library, she is always delighted for the opportunity to lead service at UUCHV. Please welcome Nora Mulligan.
I'll try and speak quietly. Blessed be the roads that brought us here. Blessed be the choices, that all, big and small, that sent us to this place, to each other, to this moment, to this warmth, to who we are together. Blessed be those who are here. Blessed be those we bring here. Blessed be all our thoughts and choices along the way. And now, I would like to invite all the children who are here to come up to the front and ring our bells 7 times for our 7 principals, following the lead of Terry Lucan, who is going to show you how to do it, we hope. Oh. This is a morning of firsts.
Our chalice lighting words today are from Reverend Orlando Brugnola of blessed memory. As we move through life, finding ourselves always newly wise and newly foolish, we ask that our mistakes be small and not hurtful. We ask that as we gain experience, we do not forget our innocence, for they are both part of the whole. Now please join me in our unison affirmation. The words are in your order of service. Inspired by love, our mission is to seek our true nature, connect deeply and openly, and act for justice.
And now I would like to invite the children to come up to the front for our time for all ages. Don't worry, I won't embarrass you. Come on up. Have a seat. Did you guys have a good Thanksgiving? Did you have a good time? Yeah. Excellent. Okay. Who can tell me what a choice is? What is a choice? Yeah, when you have 2 options and you choose one, that's good. I want you all to think about a choice that you made in the last day or 2. It could be something small, like I chose to wear this shirt instead of that shirt. It could be something big, like my brother annoyed me and I chose to yell at him instead of letting it go by. It could be I chose not to go to my friend's house, or I chose to go to my friend's house. My friend asked me. Anybody have a choice that they made recently? Yeah.
I chose to only eat noodles yesterday for dinner.
What did you choose?
To only eat noodles
Okay, Maggie chose to only eat noodles for dinner. That's a choice. Not an unreasonable choice. I bet they were good noodles. Anybody else? Anybody else make a choice? Yeah. What did you choose?
I choose pizza.
She chose pizza. All right. Always a good choice. Yes, Pastor.
I chose to wake up early, even though I didn't wake up earlier. I usually wake up early, but I woke up before everyone else.
You chose to wake up before everyone else, even though it was later than when you usually wake up. Okay, that's cool. Any other choices that people made? Okay, what I want you to think about is, what would have happened if you had made the other choice? What? What if you chose the other way? What if, for example, let's pick an example. What if you chose to eat something other than noodles? What would have happened? Would your parents have been happier? Maybe. What about if you didn't choose pizza? What was the other choice? What could you have chosen instead of pizza? Broccoli. What if you chose broccoli instead? Look at that face. I wish you guys could see her face. This is the face of a child who is horrified. Sometimes you make a choice. Well, lots of times you make choices. Sometimes you don't even think about it. What shoes am I going to wear today? Am I going to brush my... silver shoes today. That's right, I'm wearing silver sneakers today. I could have worn different shoes. And sometimes it makes no difference. I'm wearing a black shirt. I could have worn a blue shirt, right? But yeah, like yours. Yeah.
I chose to eat pizza for breakfast instead of
Ooh, pizza for breakfast. What a great idea.
Me.
Yeah.
And for breakfast, I eat noodles for breakfast.
You ate noodles for breakfast. Okay. Now, sometimes a choice doesn't make a difference. I mean, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's like, well, you can eat whatever you want. Whatever's on the table, you can have. Sometimes it makes a big difference. For example, if you choose not to do your homework, you know what happens then? You go to school and you get in trouble for not doing your homework, but that was your choice. Sometimes you choose to make friends with somebody or not to make friends with somebody. Sometimes you choose to listen to your parents or pretend you don't hear your parents. Sometimes you make choices that make a big difference. Can you think of a choice that you made that made a big difference?
I chose to, I got help from my parents, but I organized the days that because I usually get 8-page math packets, I believe, by Friday, and
So you chose to organize your work.
I'm good at the math, so I just chose maybe on Monday I do 2 pages.
That's very sensible. You choose to spread your math homework out over the week instead of waiting until the night before it's due and staying up all night and being crazy. Yeah, Maggie.
I choose to do my spelling homework the day before it's due.
You always choose to do your spelling homework the day before it's due. Well, that's a choice. What if you chose something different? What if you chose to do it a little more in advance so you're not at the last minute? What do you think? Would it make a difference? Would you feel less stressed? Probably not. Okay. Well, this week, I want all you guys to think about the things that you choose. Pay attention when you choose something, okay? Even if it's something little, I want you to think about what would happen if I made the other choice. Would it change things? Would it not change things? And if it would change things, well, sometimes it doesn't. If it would change things, try to choose the thing that changes them for the better, that makes things better rather than worse, okay? Now we're gonna sing you guys out, and you're gonna go to your religious exploration. Yay.
We come together in community to share with one another, to support one another, and to celebrate with one another. We bear sacred witness to each other in this honored ritual. As we begin, we know that there are both great sorrows and great joys in our world that must be acknowledged as well. We're going to light our first candle. To honor those in pain, victims of violence and war and oppression all around our world. We're going to light a second candle because we understand that amidst all of that pain, there is also celebration and joy in our world. We honor that joy and sorrow are woven together. For some of us here today, this has been a week of life-changing joy that needs to be lifted up in this worship. For others, this has been a time of deep pain and sorrow that needs to be shared to make the burden lighter. If this has been such a time for you, I invite you to come forward. Please use the microphone to my left, and I will light a candle for you and briefly tell us of your joy or sorrow. You may also raise your hand in silent acknowledgement of your joys and sorrows, and I will also light a candle for you. Please remember that your joys and sorrows are being shared on the live stream and the broader virtual community.
Good morning, I'm April.
You can adjust the mic down.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I have several joys. The first one is just that I love your topic today. I chose to come to church this morning, even though I was late, and chose to come sit in the front instead of sitting in the back so that I could see. And also on the way here, I spoke to my small human about choices and how he could, make choices, exactly what you were saying, that making choices that are going to benefit us and other people around us. I have another joy, a few joys. One is on Friday, we celebrated my grandmother's 92nd birthday, and we went to Oklahoma to where she lives to be with her, and I'm so happy to tell you that she's mobile. We stayed in a hotel, she stayed in a hotel one night with us, and is able to get around with a walker, and is just doing really well. And we also had a very nice Thanksgiving with my family, and it was all very lovely.
Hi, I'm Margie. I use she, her pronouns, and it's a joy to have my brother Dave with us here today for the first time from Florida.
Hi, I'm Gary, and you don't often see me up here. A sorrow, my one and only Uncle Al, passed away yesterday. He was 99, and he was a great guy. He taught me how to play ping pong, and whenever he would come over for the Christmas holiday, well, I was always jealous of my cousins Janet and Nancy because they got to celebrate Hanukkah at their house and Christmas at our house. And Uncle Al and I always had a heated ping pong battle in the basement. So for my cousins, Jen and Nancy, and my Uncle Al. He was 99 years old.
Yeah, maybe I'll go down. Oh, okay. Nice. I've just felt very grateful this week. And I guess that's my joy, is being able to feel gratitude. I'm feeling thankful for gratitude, if that makes sense. I turned 22 in a couple weeks, And that marks 8 years of on and off debilitating illness, which now I know most people face like post-COVID with long COVID and stuff, and I'm grateful that I'm halfway through college, and that's a joy for me. I'm doing my finals right now, and for the first time since I started college, I'm well enough to not need any extensions on any of my papers. And I know it's a small thing, but it's a big thing to me, so that's what I'm feeling joy about.
Hi, I'm Megan. I have a joy to share on behalf of our family. So most of you know we lost our 20-year-old cat at the beginning of October, and last weekend we went to visit a litter of kittens. So we will be bringing home a brother and a sister in about 2 weeks, and we have decided to name them Bart and Lisa.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. My name is Scott. This has been unbelievable joy this whole month. I had a milestone birthday. I turned 70. There was a time in my life where, because of my choices that I made, I didn't think I'd see 40. So that's quite something. Started off with a weekend in the Baseball Hall of Fame with my oldest friends, and you can't make new old friends. We've been friends for 63 years. We had a wonderful time. We celebrated my birthday at our house in the Berkshires, and my girls were amazing, and underneath one of the cards they gave me were tickets to the New York Knicks tonight. Party continues.
I'm walking over here because my other mic isn't on right now. So I'm actually going to share a joy also. And that was the joy of Thanksgiving, which some of you also had mentioned. I did get to spend it with some of my extended family, my husband's brother and his wife, and my 2 nephews and 1 nephew's fiance, and one of my 3 sons. So a little sad that the other 2 weren't there. But my middle son and his wife and 9-month-old baby were also there, and everybody, of course, enjoyed the baby. So, so it was a little bit smaller than what we usually have, but it was wonderful, and I'm grateful for the family that was there. So, thank you. We're lighting one more candle, which Nora is doing right now. One final candle for all those joys and sorrows that remain unexpressed, and for those outside of our walls who are searching for a place to bring the wholeness of their lives and be received with love. Thank you.
I invite you now to join me in a spirit of prayer or meditation. Settle in a little more comfortably. Close your eyes if you wish. Allow your body to relax into this sacred space. Breathe in deeply. Breathe out slowly. Breathe in compassion. Breathe out peace. Turn your mind to all the joys and sorrows that have been expressed here today, and turn your mind to contemplation of the choices that have brought us here, that have brought you here, that brought all of us here together, and the choices that are coming up for us to make. please join me in a minute of silence, which will be followed by a musical meditation.
Our reading today is by Robert Frost. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both and be one traveler. Long I stood and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as for that, the passing there had worn them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Now please join me, and Alex here will explain in a moment how we're going to do this. We're going to be, please rise in body or spirit, and we're going to be singing hymn number 1023 in your teal hymnal, Building Bridges. Alex.
All right, it was suggested that we try this as a round. It's kind of hard for me at the piano to facilitate that, but I think this side of the room will be number 1, and this side of the room will be number 3. So basically halfway through, this side will start. And so we'll sing it all together once, and then this side, do it a couple times, and hopefully we'll all get lost in a really nice way.
Thank you.
I think we did pretty well with that. Congratulations, everybody. There is a really cool game that I used to play with my daughter and our friends. It's called Chrononauts. I brought it with me this morning so you can all take a look at it during coffee hour. And every year I think about offering a night of Chrononauts as an auction item. It's a game about time travel and about paradoxes, about changing events in the past to make the timeline fit what you need. The timeline starts arbitrarily at 1865 with Abraham Lincoln's assassination and ends, also arbitrarily, at 1999 with the Columbine shooting. It ends then, I think, because the game came out not long after that. The way the game works, there are all these different events: the sinking of the Titanic, the assassination of Archduke Ferdinand, Hitler's opening the 1938 Berlin Olympics, the beginning of the Manhattan Project, the founding of Israel, the assassinations of Martin Luther King and RFK. They're all big events, okay? There's nothing that you wouldn't know about. But some events are called linchpins. If you reverse these events, say the Archduke doesn't get killed in 1914 in Sarajevo, or the Japanese decide not to attack Pearl Harbor, then all kinds of later events change dramatically. If you reverse the Cuban Missile Crisis, as a matter of fact, you cause World War III, and the rest of the timeline is no longer operable because human history ends, which is pretty cool. As I say, it is pretty cool. When we play this, often people try to reverse the Cuban Missile Crisis for that reason. As I say, it's a fun game to play, changing linchpin events and restoring them and watching how the whole timeline ripples with changes, how one event can make so many other events happen differently or not happen at all. We go through our days, we go through our lives, making hundreds of choices without even thinking about them. And even the ones we think about won't make much of a difference in the long run. Think about the kinds of choices you've made over the last day or two. Watch this show or that, stay in, go out, go to bed early or stay up later than usual. They all have consequences, but most of those consequences are simple and basic. They won't, in the words of the poem, make all the difference. But sometimes you face a linchpin decision in your own life. Go on this date and meet the person you're going to marry, or turn the date down. Take this job and subject yourself to years of misery, or hold out for something better that may never come. Stay here or move to another state. Sometimes you don't even know at the time that your whole life will change because of this seemingly insignificant decision. Or maybe you do. Maybe you look at that choice, look at the two roads diverging, and realize that the change you make now is going to reverberate through the rest of your life. And it's scary to try to make the right decision then, because Robert Frost is right. We may tell ourselves that we can always go back and choose the other path, the one we turned away from, but we know the odds are good. We aren't going to have that second chance. History doesn't repeat itself except in fiction. A few years ago, I watched the Ken Burns documentary about Vietnam, and there was a moment early in the series when we saw footage of Ho Chi Minh, who was then leading his people against the French colonizers. He believed that the United States would naturally be Vietnam's ally in its fight for independence. He based this belief on our alliance with Vietnam in the recent World War II, and, more poignantly, on America's basic values of anti-colonialism, of freedom and democracy, our Declaration of Independence. He even quoted language from our Declaration of Independence in the beginning of Vietnam's Declaration of Independence. He reached out to President Truman for the U.S. to help Vietnam in its anti-colonial war. And there it was, a linchpin. Consider what might have happened if we'd chosen the road of supporting Vietnam's efforts to free itself from the French, instead of the road of blunt anti-communism, going to war against Ho Chi Minh and his people. Imagine the lives that could have been saved, the money that could have gone to other purposes than killing people and destroying a third world country. I've been thinking seriously about this for a few weeks now, ever since Reverend Daniel posted and then read in the service the prayer that the late Reverend Jim Covington wrote in the immediate aftermath of 9/11. I wasn't a member of the congregation then, so I didn't get to hear it when events were fresh in my mind. But even now, 24 years later, the prayer hit me with a powerful impact. He said, I pray for wisdom over prideful revenge. I pray our consciences will be quickened and clear. I pray our anger will lead us to the right path of justice. I pray our fear will heighten our awareness of the preciousness of life and not immobilize us. I pray our sadness will embolden us to savor life even as we know more than ever that life is fragile and suffering is inevitable. I pray our hope in the greater goodness of people will not falter. I pray we will not fall to self-righteousness or deny our own hypocrisy. I pray we will continue to cherish each other and love one another, knowing humbly that no one is perfect, and that if we care enough, we can see the same tears, pain, and joy in the face of another that are in ourselves. Amen. Love to all. I'd be willing to bet we all prayed something like that. I know that even though I didn't put it as eloquently, when the towers fell, when everyone was in shock and horror, I desperately wanted the country to make the right choices. And that Sunday, that recent Sunday, when Reverend Daniel read those words, I was moved to tears because I knew, as we all know, what actually happened in the aftermath of 9/11. Reverend Jim's words were the road not taken, the choice we could have made, which would have made all the difference. Prideful revenge was the order of the day. President Bush standing on the ruins of the towers of the Bullhorn, threatening our enemies. Immediate war against Afghanistan and then against Iraq, which had nothing to do with 9/11, as many of us knew at the time, no matter how much the administration insisted, they were part and parcel of the same terrorism we were suddenly at war with. That was a linchpin. There was the road of mindless and ugly revenge, lashing out at people who had nothing to do with the attack. The birth of the Department of Homeland Security, the president's advisors telling Americans to watch what we say, the axis of evil, the designation of enemy combatants outside the protection of American or international laws, the road we took. Or there was the other road, the road of compassion. The road where we leaned on the goodwill of our allies, and I'm sure you remember the outpouring of worldwide goodwill towards us in the immediate aftermath of the attacks. A world where we worked to isolate the people and groups who were actually responsible for the attacks and dealt with them according to international law. A road where we reached out to try to create a more peaceful, just world. The road not taken, the road we should have taken. I believe that the choices made in the aftermath of 9/11 have led us directly to where we are right now as a nation. There's a straight line between Ari Fleischer telling Americans they should watch what they say to President Trump's calling for the execution of senators who made a video reminding soldiers of their duty to disobey illegal orders. There's a direct line between the designation of certain people as enemy combatants to be held without charges, without trial, and without hope of release, and masked ICE agents crashing into buildings in the middle of the night, dragging all the inhabitants out in zip ties, holding them in unmarked vans for hours, or dragging people out of parking lots and schools and courthouses to send them to unknown destinations inside or outside the country. But I also believe that our response to 9/11 wasn't inevitable, that we didn't have to choose the road we did in 2001. And the evidence I have for this seemingly naive belief is the way people immediately and unhesitatingly reacted in the aftermath of 9/11. Not everyone was swaggering around threatening bloodshed. In fact, all over the country, people rushed to give blood, to send food and help to the first responders dealing with the wreckage at Ground Zero. For example, at my daughter's elementary school, they were collecting sandwiches to send to the first responders. Everywhere, people were going out of their way to check on their neighbors. People were studying Arabic, learning about Islam, trying to understand why this had happened, whether there were things we could do differently. Yes, of course, there were people whose first reactions were to hate and threaten. And there were all kinds of hate crimes against anyone who looked different, including people who weren't Muslim but looked it. But there were also many, many of us whose first reaction was to try to help, to reach out to each other, to try to understand. Reverend Jim wasn't the only one praying that we could use this experience to realize how precious we all are, how ephemeral life is, and how we need to cherish it. When President Bush and his cabinet pushed us into the war with Iraq, millions of Americans and people around the world marched in protest. We did not all agree that this was the right road, that this was how we as a nation should react to being attacked by a group from another country altogether. Our protests were ignored, of course, and the war happened, but it's important to remember that there were people, millions of us, who were ready to choose the other road, the road less traveled by. There was another linchpin last November. Two roads diverged. One road had the majority of Americans voting, and voting to support our Constitution, to safeguard our institutions, to move forward to make things better for Americans. The other road had millions of people just sitting the election out, not caring enough to vote either way, deciding they didn't like either of the candidates, deciding that both parties were equally bad, or that it just didn't make a difference anyway. That was, unfortunately, the road we chose as a nation. And that's led us to where we are now. And I don't have to go into all the horrors that have resulted from that election, from the first day Trump took office, and pardon people who tried to stage a coup for him 4 years earlier, when he sent his unelected billionaire buddy, Elon Musk, to wreak havoc on the country's civil servants and institutions, and did his best to undo all the good that had been accomplished in the last 4 years since he left office. We will be feeling the ripples from the choice of Trump as president for years to come. And yet, it's been a pretty harrowing 10 months. But we can already see Americans choosing the other road, moving toward the one less traveled by. We see huge protests. Think of the 2 No Kings protests. We see people fighting for their immigrant neighbors, with neighborhood watches, with people carrying whistles to warn each other of the approach of ICE vans, people blocking agents from kidnapping their neighbors, filming the actions of those masked, heavily armed people who routinely violate other people's civil rights. We see governors and mayors making it clear that the invasion of American cities is not wanted and that there will be consequences for these illegal actions. We see courts repeatedly slapping down the excesses of this administration. And remember, the courts are only acting because people brought lawsuits against the administration. Organizations like the ACLU, individuals who have been abused by the lawless actions of the administration. People who stood up for their rights as Americans, as human beings, endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights, as our Declaration of Independence says, with inherent worth and dignity, as our principles proclaim. We're fighting back. We're moving toward a different choice. Our Unitarian Universalist Association has already voted to stand up for our democratic principles, and our own congregation is going to get a chance at our mid-year meeting to vote on our own democracy action principles and the actions we're going to take to support democracy. In all these situations, the road less traveled by is the road of peace, the road of acting on reason and not pure emotion, the road of compassion and empathy. The other road, the one we take so often and have been taking so often for decades, if not centuries, is easy. It plays to our fears, our irrational angers, our desire for an immediate fix, for punishment. It's the road of the bully, the self-righteous, the worst of what we are as people. Let us intentionally seek out the road less traveled by, instead of falling into the rut of the road of destruction and hate, the road of indifference to the lives of others. Let us choose the road less traveled by, the road of compassion and love. And if years from now we find ourselves sighing at the choice, let the sigh be of relief, for it is a choice that will make all the difference. May it be so. Amen. Now please stand and join me in hymn number 1028, The Fire of Commitment, in our teal hymnal.
Each week we make an offering from the bounty that we are blessed to enjoy. We do this in the spirit of love and generosity, aware that we have benefited from those who have gone before, those who in their turn gave generously. Our offering goes to support the work of love and justice undertaken by this community. Today's offering will also be shared with the holiday gift giving program for the residents of Hope Store and Jan Peak Homeless Shelter in Peekskill. Please refer to our e-newsletter or website for more information. You can make your donation in several ways. If present in the sanctuary, you may give cash or a check in the offering plate as it comes by. From your homes, you can make your donation via credit card or PayPal using the links provided in the e-newsletter or by visiting our website, uuchudsonvalley.org. Or if you prefer, you can always mail us a check. The offering will now be given and gratefully received. Please, please join me now in the dedication of the offering. The words are in your order of service. May these gifts and the work of our hands and hearts give power to all we stand for as a community of faith. Please also join me now in extinguishing the chalice. The words once again are in your order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Blessed be our choices. Blessed be the choices that we make this week, the roads we travel. Blessed be our choosing deliberately the road less traveled, the road that leads to peace and justice. Amen. Railway station.